I have a real sweet tooth today, so we're going to take care of it with this Depression era recipe. Let's get started. If you've watched the channel, you know that I'm really into Depression era cooking and food. The reason being is it was a time where there wasn't much money. It was a time when you can cook with just stuff that you had in your house. And it's all really good recipes. So today we're going to make a Depression era sugar cream pie, which I love a good pie. And from this modest ingredient you can see here, it's going to be a really quick recipe. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was preheat my oven to 350 degrees because that's the temperature you're going to need to bake the pie at. Now, for this recipe, you're going to want a 9-inch pie crust, and you do not want to blind bake the pie crust. You're going to put everything into a raw pie crust. Now, of course, in the Depression era, they would make their own pie crust. Thank God I am not there because I can just go to a box store and buy a good pie crust to start with. Now it's going to take half a cup of heavy cream, a cup and a quarter of flour, a tablespoon of Karo syrup or corn syrup. I use light corn syrup because it's a light pie, 1 egg, 2 cups of brown sugar, and 3/4 of a cup of pecans. Now the pecans are something they added later on because it is an expensive item for the pie, and of course pure vanilla. So let's get started with this recipe. The first step you're going to want to do is mix the brown sugar and the flour in a bowl, and you're just going to whisk this together, grab a whisk, until it's just mixed basically. You want to get the lumps out of the sugar, because I mean brown sugar is basically sugar with some molasses added to it. It adds an additional layer of just pure flavor actually. So we're going to just mix this really well, and as you can see the lumps are all out of the sugar and the flour is incorporated perfectly. And we're going to set that aside. Now in the other bowl, we're going to mix all of the liquid ingredients. So we're going to put the milk in, drop that there, a teaspoon of vanilla. I never really measure the vanilla because I love the flavor, so if it's a little more, it's just more flavor. So really does not have to be precise in my cooking style. Then we're going to add the 1 tablespoon of Karo syrup, and what this is going to do along with the flour, it's going to help thicken the pie, so you'll have a nice creamy custard by the end of this recipe. And then we're going to do 1 egg. Now how hard was that? So we're going to take all of these ingredients and whisk them until they're fully combined. And while you're whisking it, it's going to also thicken up the cream just a little bit. You don't want a whipped cream in it, but as you can see with the Karo syrup and the egg, it is a thicker viscosity for this pie. And of course, once that vanilla hits your nostrils, it is one of the best smells ever. And then we're going to take the liquid ingredients and combine them with the powdered ingredients. Doesn't look like a lot, but it will all come together. It's going to be very thick, but you have to think when it's baking, all of the sugars will melt into a caramel, and it'll make it a good brown sugar pie. Great consistency. So as you can see, it's really going to be a thick pie. And then all we're going to do is add the pecans to it. Scrape some of this off so we can get all of this in that pan. And you're just going to want to fold the pecans in so they're mixed throughout. And it's literally that simple. It's what I love about Depression era desserts. So now we're going to take our mixture. And I know I'm doing this backwards on the camera, but I'm just pushing it all out. So I'm not going to miss that pecan. And then we're just going to form it in the pan. Like I said, once it starts baking, all the sugar is going to melt and it's going to be a liquid consistency. So we have the pecan strewn about. Everything's mixed in. Now all we have to do is put it in our 350-degree oven, and you're going to bake it for 30 to 40 minutes depending on your oven until you have a nice brown topping on this pie. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and then I'm going to get a few other things done, and I'll bring you back when we're taking it out. Okay guys, it took a little longer in my oven. My oven does cook hotter, so I reduced the heat a little bit, but this took 40 minutes. But the pie is ready to come out now. Let's grab it. There we have it. Now what you're going to want to do now that the pie is baked, this is meant to be a cold pie. So we're going to let it come to room temperature, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge, and I'll cut a slice so we can see what the inside looks like. This is the first time I've made this pie, so we're going to all be surprised when I actually cut it. So I will let it cool off, and then we'll be back. Okay guys, here we go. The pie has cooled off. They say to serve it either at room temperature or you can refrigerate it. But let's try and cut a piece of this thing and see how it comes out. Cuts really well, actually, considering it was just a doughy mess when we put it in. Let's see. Yeah, that actually, let me pull it up to the camera so you can see. It's kind of like a caramel. Looks really good. So all the sugar has melted and mixed with the cream. So it looks like a creamy caramel pie, and you saw how easy it was to actually make. So now that we have a piece, let's give it a little taste here. Oh, that is so good. That is a really good pie, guys. It kind of gives you the hints of a pecan pie because you get the caramel with the caramel syrup in it, and the pecans are chopped really nicely. The top of it is really crispy, as is the bottom crust, which for no blind baking, that is really good. It would be really good with whipped cream or even ice cream. And with the amount of sugar that I put in it, it's really not overly sweet, which I like. Yeah, this is definitely a keeper. It's a pie we're going to be making again. Now I just need to wait for Dale to get home from work so he can try it. So thanks for stopping by today. If you could, please give this video a like. You can share the video so your friends can get it and keep up with the recipes we cook. And also consider subscribing to the page if you haven't subscribed already. Thanks for stopping by, and hope to see you soon.